Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Janice Deloy here from OHUG. We're so happy to see you on our webinar, How to Improve Your Chances of Being Selected to Speak at Ascend 2023. We know that's really important to give you all the tips and tricks you need to make sure we love your presentation when it comes in. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to tell you a little bit about Ascend and what happens there. We're going to give you a little highlight of the property it's at, beautiful property this time. How do you apply to speak, some tips and tricks, overview. Mohan's going to talk to us about titles, abstracts. We'll give you some ideas, some things to avoid, what our process is, and the dates and deadlines. And we have with us today Mike Jones, the OATUG Director of Education, Mohan Dutt, OATUG's board member and Ascend 2023 Education Chair, Carrie Hollick, OHUG's board member and program chair, and myself, the OHUG Executive Director. I'll turn it over to Carrie.
Thanks, Janice. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. So I'm going to cover a little bit about Ascend. This is Ascend 2023. So if you've been with us in the past, you know that Ascend 2023 is co-produced by two Oracle user groups partnering together. That's OATUG and OHUG. This is the third time that we're doing this partnership, the third Ascend conference this year. Super excited. And as a reminder, OATUG primarily covers eBusiness Suite, ERP Cloud, and EPM Hyperion Planning. OHUG primarily covers Oracle Cloud HCM, as well as EBS HCM, PeopleSoft, and Taleo products. So what happens at Ascend 2023? Again, if you've been there, you know this. If not, get excited. Oracle education. So we've got a lot of users sharing knowledge with other Oracle users. We've got speakers in there. You're going to see some innovative business solutions, some different ways to use the products that you may not have seen before. So bring your application expertise, bring your industry perspective. We've got a lot of different people using the products in different ways. As you know, these products are super flexible, configurable, extendable. We got Oracle sessions and product updates there, on-prem sessions, cloud sessions, covering it all. We also have some professional development tracks, which we're super excited about. Networking opportunities constantly. So you're going to meet some people, meet other users, meet other exhibitors. We've got the exhibitor showcase, evenings, some exhibit hall reception, member appreciation party, all kinds of opportunities for you to get out there, meet other folks, share knowledge, and learn. I'm going to kick this over to Janice and maybe Mike to talk a little bit about the Orlando location that we'll be at.
Okay, I can go ahead and speak.
I was on mute. The Caribe Royale is an absolutely beautiful property. It's large and spread out. It's got pools and restaurants, some brand new restaurants. It was completely remodeled from top to bottom just in the last year or so. In fact, they're still working on a few things that will be ready for us when we get there. And there's going to be a Starbucks, which I know everybody is really needs to have there because we all need our coffee. There's a lot to do with your family there. There's even basketball, tennis courts, fishing that you can all use complimentary. They have some bike rentals, jogging trail. It's just great. And the conference center is brand new. It's a brand new building. We're all together in a single space. It's really great. Mike, do you have anything you want to add about that?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite part of the property is it being an all-suites hotel. I know we were there during the national championship game, and it's just fun kind of having that extra room to sit on a sofa, kind of work. It's got a great desk, which is away from your bed and everything else, and two TVs, which is always fantastic. So the suites part of it, I really enjoy. It is a beautiful property. I've seen a lot of different properties with my time at OATUG, and this is one of my favorites. I do really enjoy it.
So you can bring your family. There's room for the kids to sleep out in that extra room. and it's pretty close to Disney and Universal, and I think we even have some discount tickets available.
All right, what a great location. So with that, how do I apply to speak, right? So hit up the Ascend 2023 website. There's a link in here, and I think we'll be sharing these slides out so you can view the presenter info there. A clever title, abstract, and learning objective. So we'll get into that a little bit more because clever title is something that I know Mohan is excited to talk to you guys about, and how to beef up your abstract. I'll note that if you're accepted, the PowerPoint's not due until May. So get your idea out there, explain it at a high level and what your objectives are, but you're not developing the PowerPoint itself just yet. So you can continue to put fresh information in there and get that in by May. If you're accepted and you're a user or a customer, you're going to get a heavily, heavily discounted registration. So that's $195. If you're an associate or partner, you get, again, a super deeply discounted registration in a little under $500. So you can't beat that, really. All right, so why should I submit for Ascend 2023 if you're not convinced yet? So professional development. All right, this is important. It's important to get out there and share your knowledge with other folks, and it helps you, kind of build your chops as a speaker. CPE credits. Note that if you present for over 50 minutes, you're going to be eligible for 2 CPE credits. The savings is huge. So, $800 to $1,500 off the registration for the conference. I mean, that's a really, really great deal, guys. And then, of course, just the networking. I know when I speak at conferences, people are coming up to me. You get the name recognition and all of that. So it really kickstarts conversations and ways for you to bond with other people. And when you share your knowledge with them, they're excited to share with you as well. All right, so tips and tricks for success. Just like voting, submit early and often. So, you probably have ideas about a couple different things, put them all in, you probably, a lot of us work with different things and have different enhancements that we're putting in, different ways that we're maybe saving money for our companies, different exciting things to do, put them all in and get them in there early. The earlier, the better. Create a catchy title, grab some attention, have some fun with it. When you're looking, think about as you're choosing a conference or a session that you would attend at a conference, there's so many great choices, right? So what is it that's going to grab you? Think about that. Write your abstract, fill in the right level of detail there so that the folks that are doing paper selection understand what you're getting at. Put in those learning objectives. We've standardized it now, so we're just looking for your 3 top learning objectives. You can have more in the back of your head, but just the 3 that we're looking for. And then give your customer top billing. So, if you were a vendor, an associate, a partner who is presenting with a customer, make sure to give them the top billing. Put them in as the primary presenter, please. And with that, I'm going to throw this over to Mohan to get into some more details on presentations, abstracts, etc.
Thank you very much. So I have been incredibly lucky to have the opportunity to present at OATG Ascend the last time it happened. And when I was speaking to Mike about, what makes our presentation proposal stand out, we put down some of the points based on our own experience, as well as we polled our presenters who presented at previous conferences. So quickly looking at what we call an overview, first have an idea in mind, and with that great idea, think about how you want to articulate 2 aspects which on the submission form you will find is the presentation title and the abstract, and lastly the presentation objectives. And think in the shoes of the audience, like what they want to hear from you. And of course, the presentation proposal, once you submit, it gets voted on. So also try to think in the shoes of the voters who are voting on the proposal, what they want to see. We are looking at solutions, best practices, case studies. And when you're thinking about the audience, think what are the major takeaways, what they will benefit out of it, what value they'll get out of it. So make sure your content is balanced, maybe less words and more power, more punch in there. And we'll talk about next on how to have a catchy title.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to add here, Mohan, and I actually should have put
Sure.
in there, is if you ran into a very difficult problem also, that's always a kind of a great idea for a session. Talk about the problem you ran into. We all have problems these days. Seems to not be getting any easier, and what solution you came out with that problem. So that's another great presentation overview. My favorite thing is to kick this over to Mohan for session titles, because he constantly has the catchiest titles in showbiz. So take it away here, Mohan.
Thank you, Mike. And talking about problems, many of the solutions are undocumented, and folks come to this conference to hear about those solutions and workarounds, which usually are not available online or in documentation. So, Mike, that's a great call out. Now, going on to title. Now, these days, attention is very limited. Everyone is scrolling down. Even in the conference, you will have the conference app, and folks are scrolling down trying to find which session to attend. Now, even when you submit a proposal, there are hundreds and hundreds of proposals. So even the voters are scrolling down and voting on the proposal. Now, the presentation title, if it's a catchy one, I'm not saying it has to be a real traffic stopper, but if it's a catchy one, like a couple of Ascend conferences ago, I was presenting one on professional growth on time management, and I titled the presentation 21 Ways to Eat a Frog. And that had a lot of audience members who just attended the session because they were curious what's this title is all about. So it can be something about Florida and oranges, and can have a Florida themed even topic. Case studies are very popular, and make sure if you have a case study of an user organization, you mentioned in the case study. I was looking at last year's conference submitted. There was a case study on Department of Energy's journey to cloud. There was a pharmaceutical company who managed a fast month-end closing through accounts payable automation. So they mentioned the company name. And make sure that also the presentation title conveys what the session is about. So don't put too many jargons and abbreviations. So it becomes easier for the audience member, for the conference attendee, and even easier for the evaluators who are voting on your presentation proposal to stop and say, okay, let me review the presentation proposal and vote on it. Mike, anything you want to add?
Yeah, my biggest things are the two last ones, which are a little bit tricky. If you're an associate and partner, you really want to avoid using your company's name, saying, how, my company helped, such and such. You want to we get those abstracts and titles from all the time, and they're going to score very low in the voting. If you're putting your company's title if you're putting your company's name in the title, abstract, and learning objectives, it'll almost automatically be voted out. It kind of is a salesy thing, but the tricky part is if you're helping a user company, just, basically say, how we helped Starbucks or Google, or, how Starbucks or Google did a journey to the cloud, that type of thing. You don't ever want to put your company in saying you did that, but you do want to use user companies, especially if it's a user company everyone knows.
Thank you, Mike.
I hope that's clear. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop it into the question panel of the control box, and we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah, next one I'll talk about the abstract, and remember the title can be long. It need not be 4 or 5 words. We have about 125 characters. That's about, as many as 10, 15 word title you can have. And then we have the abstract, and this is where the conference attendees read the abstract and find what value they will get attending your session, and that's why the abstract is the key. And abstracts, start with the theme. Is it a case study? Is it a problem that you have solved and unique solution? And start with the problem statement, follow through with your approach, with your solution and what's unique about it. And finally, for the audience members, what value they will get out of it. What benefit did you have as an organization implementing the solution? What was the return on investment? And if, as Mike mentioned, if it's a case study, mention the name of the organization where you implemented. And along with the abstract, distill the key points of the abstract and put that in the presentation objectives. Again, for the benefit of the conference audience, as well as for the benefit of the voters who are voting on your proposal, they would quickly scan the session objectives and then go to the session abstracts. So both are important while you submit your session proposal.
Yeah,
anything anyone else wants to add? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to add that with the abstract, it's a little bit tricky with it. I mean, you really want to, make it 5, 6, 7 sentences. I wouldn't make it, I really think the long abstracts don't do as well. And the same thing with the short abstracts. If you just have 2 or 3 sentences and you're really kind of vague on what you're doing, those don't do as well either. It's kind of you're looking for that right balance with your abstract. Just make it as concise as possible, but give as much information as possible as well.
Right. And as far as like real estate is concerned, you have about 800 characters for the abstract. So there's more than 100 words you can put in. But as Mike said, make sure it's very relevant and not make it, very long. And for objectives, we have about 150 characters.
Yeah. Actually, one thing I did not put in here is you have to also keep in mind your abstract is going to be read via the app at the conference. So if you do get selected and it goes through the voting process, someone's going to be reading that on their phone. So if you put in War and Peace and it's a very long abstract, people just aren't going to go through it. You need to, again, have that perfect abstract so people are viewing it on their phone and can decide if they want to attend your session.
Thanks, Mike. Now for submission ideas. Now what we have listed here is going through the several years and seeing what were the highest rated sessions, the most popular sessions which were voted on, and also the sessions which had the highest success rate in terms of selections. Customer case studies are top of the list. If you're a user organization, like your implementation experience, even if you are an associate as a consultant, make sure you highlight the case study, mention the name of your client where you implemented, or if it's your own organization, You can mention the case study and any organization name. Highlight what we also want to know a lot. This is a conference is also an opportunity for what I call an education experience. Instead of going to Oracle University training, what I look at the Ascend conference is it's like 3 days of training. So if you have any presentation idea about new application, new modules, new features, enhancements, new version of EBS Business Suite, these are the topics which are very, very popular because the audience wants to learn by attending your sessions. Once you present your case studies can be talking about how you implement it, but one of the most successful presentation proposal topics have been lessons learned and your point of view. And we have separate subtracks for emerging tech, emerging trend, any solutions which you have co-developed with Oracle or solutions which work with Oracle solutions, and also anything that you have presented at any forum, and consider presenting, if you are an associate, like look at presenting with your customer, joint presentation. Look at presenting with Oracle. If it's a new application, new product, often Oracle product managers are very keen to present with you and also add like their application roadmap, their product roadmap along with your presentation. So all this makes a very compelling presentation proposal, and chances of selection is very high. Anyone wants to add anything, Mike?
I think that's good.
Okay. And finally, things that you want to avoid, as Mike mentioned, like don't make it too much sales in nature, even if you're an associate. Leave out your company name from the title, abstract, and objectives. Check for spelling and grammar, because what you write in there is what appears on the abstract. And if you don't do a spell check, and I don't know if you have noticed, like if there are any spelling errors on this slide, but if there are, it doesn't get caught. So, make sure you do spell check before you submit. And also the chances of selection is higher when you make sure it's in the right track and the smart track or the right subtrack, because if you're presenting, say, on, new features of Oracle 23 and you put into the professional development track, chances are you're competing with, topics which may not be relevant to the database track. So put that in the same track. And, our voters, are very discerning, and they have gone through lots of proposals over the years. They have been attending conferences, so they can easily catch any plagiarism anywhere. Like your presentation is very similar to last year's presentation, chances of those getting selected are much less. And especially if you're a special interest group, please make sure that you mention, it's a SIG meeting. And like last year, we did have presentation topics where they also added what they are going to present in the SIG meeting. So that's all I have from my side. Any questions? And Mike, please add on. And talk about the paper selection process. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mohan. The SIG meeting is a big one, because I know from OETUG, a lot of people say, cost SIG meeting, that's it. we're expecting, and this went out to all the SIG leaders, we are expecting, if you are a SIG, you have to present an actual presentation. You have to put in a strong title, a strong abstract, and learning objectives for your SIG meeting, and say, you know, the cost SIG presents, you know, how to do costing and cloud ERP, and then have a strong abstract. The reason being is historically, just regular SIG meetings have not drawn well at our conferences. And a big reason for that is they don't have their titles, abstracts, and learning objectives are competing against 19 other sessions that do have really good titles, abstracts, and learning objectives. So people don't go to those sessions. So if you are a SIG, make sure you put in a strong title, abstract, and objectives.
And the same would go for OHUG's communities. We do have community leaders that are looking at what they want to present, but if you are someone who wants to present within the community for OHUG, I would give the same advice and make sure you call out that it's one of the OHUG communities. I also wanted to add, we do see presentations that cut across tracks and smart tracks. They may cover multiple product lines, HCM and financials, for example. It really helps us a lot as we're reviewing. If you can mention that as part of your abstract or communicate it in some way there, so that we know that it covers a broader area. And then when, you know, if it is selected, then when we put it on the program, we will cross tag it so people will see it for both.
Yeah, thank you, Janice. And I will update the session to list that. Again, I think the biggest mistake people make is the proper track and smart track, because if it is not in the right track, the right voters, the voters that see it are gonna be like, how does this relate to HCM, or how does this relate to EBS? If it's not in the right track, and people mistakenly put it there all the time. Someone was asking what a SIG is. We did not spell that out. A SIG is a special interest group. So like a cost special interest group. And Janice, I'm sure you have a PeopleSoft special interest group. That's what a SIG is. And then again, make sure you have it in the proper track and smart track. Plagiarism comes up every single year. I do get emails about that. So make sure they're your original ideas. Again, I also see spelling and grammar errors. I purposely misspelled that one because I see it every single year, and spell check these days is so easy to use. Anything else, Janice or Carrie? Mohan? Okay, quickly, we'll go over the paper selection process. It's pretty easy, I think, for us. We use members. OHUG, I think, uses volunteers to vote on proposals from a education director. Nothing can be easier for me to get, and everyone on this call is invited, if you are an OATUG member, to vote on the tracks. I know we sent an email out about that, but if you do want to vote and you're interested in voting, and if you are submitting, I also recommend that you vote. So please shoot me an email. I'll get you, I'll be happy to get you the process and how to vote. It's really simple and easy. If you're voting for EBS financials, you'll just send me an email. You'll fill out a simple form of just your name, phone number, or actually name, email, you know, title, and then we've got this great system that really helps you vote easily on the sessions. They're blind, so you'll just read titles, abstracts, and learning objectives, give a score 1 to 5, and place them in there. And last year it was fantastic. I mean, from an OETUG standpoint, we had tracks that had 30, 35 people voting on them. So when we go to give these to the volunteers, they already have a voting score, and it makes it really easy for selection. And you know, the cream rises to the top on those, where the best sessions are selected for this conference. I know OHUG's process is very similar, and they get great scores as well, and theirs go to the top. It's really an ideal way to launch a conference where you're just seeing the best sessions. We also use historical data to see how many sessions can be selected for a particular track. So if you know, EBS has, you know, if EBS has 30 session slots, or actually we formulate how many session slots EBS will have based on the number of sessions that get placed in there. And then I just mentioned that last kind of bullet there, that the proposal ratings help us build in a great agenda. I'm super excited for it. It's always a
So
great process. We always improve on. Go ahead, Jen.
mention that OHUG does use volunteers for the paper review and selection process. And if you're interested in being one of those volunteers to take a look at help us decide what goes on the program, just shoot us a note at info@ohug.org and we'll include you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Janice. Someone was asking about the right track. If you go to the Ascend website, there's a education tab there, and all the tracks are listed and defined. I know when I'm kind of looking over the sessions, I try to see if things aren't in the right area. And of course, I'm looking for, taglines like OCI and cloud, EBS, PeopleSoft. We look for all those things in your sessions. So there is an education tab on the Ascend website that has all our tracks listed out by definitions. You should be able to go there and figure out exactly where your session belongs. And lastly, someone did also put in the notes, is there any feedback on sessions that aren't accepted? We don't really give feedback. We just kind of decline it. But if you're interested in on why it wasn't accepted, just let us know. We do have, the selection of these sessions has never been more tricky because our room and session totals are very finite, and every year we get more people submitting, we get more requests from Oracle, we get more requests from everywhere. So the session slots are highly valuable. And I think last year we didn't have a lot of session slots, so it was a little bit below 20% acceptance. So 80% of them were given declines. Go ahead, Mohan.
Yeah, Mike, that's what is said. Is highly competitive. The acceptance rate at an Ivy League school was higher than the acceptance rate at Ascend. So it's very, very competitive.
Yeah, we increased the session slots this year. However, I'm constantly getting more requests, and we're bringing back certain items as well. This is not in the call for papers, but we are going to be doing some workshops. We're going to bring back some Turbo Talks. I know those were popular in the past. Via COVID, we had kind of eliminated some of those. So we're going to bring back some of that. We're looking into certifications. We're looking into a lot of different stuff. So the session slots that members present has never been so competitive, and they're extremely valuable to us. Also, I did want to point out, which I actually haven't mentioned here at all, is if you're unsure you can attend, because we do request that everyone that submits cannot present remotely. You have to attend. But if you're unsure you can attend, it doesn't hurt to submit a session, see if you get accepted, and then I know at the end of, I actually don't have the timeline in front of me, but I think it's around the end of April, you have to register for the conference, and that's when you really have to commit to actually going. All right, anything else?
And Mike, do we have those checkbox for first-time presenters?
That is a great question. I can't remember if we put it in there.
Because we encourage, like, if you haven't presented before and a first-time presenter, we encourage you to submit often. So, don't worry that you haven't presented and chances of selections is not so high. You just never know. If your topic and title and abstract is a great one, we had great first-time presenters in past Ascend conferences.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I think it's in there. We did all that testing back in November, and right now that's like a eon ago. But
I'm not sure. I don't think it's. I'm just looking now. I don't think it's there.
Okay.
Well, maybe we can quickly have them add that. But yeah, We definitely love first-time presenters, so please make sure you submit. I have a weird question in there. It's in the question area. I'll cut and paste this and put it into the chat. It's talking about an not sure what it means. Janice, I'm not sure if it's kind of an HCM question, so I'll have you and Carrie take a quick peek at it.
Oh, for Oracle Me. It's, we didn't make it a separate smart track. So I would say put it under the smart track that's closest to the portion of Oracle Me that you're using, and then make sure in the abstract itself that you talk about Oracle Me, that's what you're presenting on. We expect to see a lot of sessions on that.
Yeah, and the title as well. Agree.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, with the dates and deadlines, I'm going to quickly point out a couple of things. Call for presentations closes January 27th. I'll give everyone on this call a bit of advice. We're going to keep the page open through that weekend, so you still have that weekend to submit. The week of February 20th, speakers will be notified. We generally send out acceptances first and declines later. And then we will add a few alternates in there as well. And there's my speaker registration. See, I was totally wrong. That has to be done by March 31st. I think I said April. And then May 16th, presentations are due. The week before this, you'll get an invitation for the app. All speakers should be registered by then. And then you'll need to go into the app to upload your presentations, and that's when that's due. Now you can upload a presentation that's partially done. I know for this webinar, I'm constantly updating it right up to the last second, and I'm sure a lot of people do that as well, so you can constantly upload new presentations as they come along. But May 16th is when the first presentations are due. Those help us, like your registration, uploading presentations, it kind of gives us more confidence that you'll be able to attend. So that's what we're always looking at. Lastly, Q&A. So if anyone has any questions, I know a few of you have already done that, and I'm kind of going through them now. Please post that into the question area of the question area of the go-to control panel. I'm going to start cutting and pasting some of the questions that we're getting in now. Okay, understanding that a really good session might not get chosen because of time and space challenges. Maybe some of the sessions could be webinars after the conference. If the customers would still want to see those sessions. We have been doing that. I know it, and I know you do this well, Janice, is we have educational weeks that are going to fall after the Ascend conference, and we will start looking at some of those because we might run into a lot of spacing times. I know that from our standpoint, from an OETUG standpoint, we're getting more and more requests from Oracle from all different areas, Cloud EPM, Cloud ERP, EBS, analytics, and kind of all over the board. We're getting more and more requests for Oracle to present, which they kind of love doing. But yes, if we can't fit those in, we may reach out to you for an educational week, and we kind of put that verbiage in the decline saying, sorry, your session was great, but we can't accept it, but we may reach out to you at a later date.
Yeah, we do the same thing, and sometimes we like to use those for community meetups as well, so in addition to webinars.
Yeah. Okay, someone was asking about as a speaker history field. We did eliminate that. My goal for submitting a session is always to make it the easier, the better. We might add that back though. It's always kind of a good one to have in there. Someone asked about the
also during paper selection, as Mike noted, it's blind. So, that speaker history doesn't come up during paper selection. So it's part of the thought process there too.
Yep. Someone asked if the deck will be shared. The deck and the recording will be shared on the Ascend website. So if you go to the presenter information page there, which I put at the very top of the chat, You'll be able to find that, probably get all posted up tomorrow. Do we get an e-certificate acknowledgement for presenting that we could showcase it outside the organization? If you present at our conference and you do go the required 50 minutes, you will get a CPE credit, continuing continuing education credit. 2 of them will be sent to you after the conference. All right, I'm not seeing, I think that's the last one. Any other questions before we get out of here? Again, we hope everyone on this call can submit sessions. It is really a fantastic conference. Everyone that goes loves it. The parties are fun. The location is great. It is Orlando. I do love the tropical feel of the resort, and the plants, the ferns, the palm trees, everything like that is just great. So please submit and attend the conference. I want to thank Janice, Mohan, and Carrie for helping me present this. Thank you very much, guys. It's a very seasoned crew, so thank you very much. This will conclude the webinar.